Hi, I'm writer and director Tom Getty, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the secret that has enabled Christopher Nolan, Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and all of the other filmmakers you greatly admire to make the blockbuster movies you and I enjoy so much. Movies like Inception, Jurassic Park, Memento, Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is a secret that, once known, will help enable you to realize your own movie-making dreams, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever your level of talent, and however little money you actually have. In fact, the less the better. Now, I'll be upfront. Knowing this secret won't automatically make you a famous movie director able to make whatever movie you want. It will instead guide you to be able to make literally any movie you want and become a world-renowned filmmaker who is highly in demand in Hollywood by studio executives, top agencies, and the biggest and highest paid talent. Knowing this secret is the answer to the all-pressing question: how did those famous movie directors become famous movie directors? Money? Connections? A lucky break? None of the above. If you're like me growing up, you were born far outside of Hollywood, on the outside looking in. No money, no contacts, and without sincere, realistic encouragement for your dream of making actual, real movies. It just doesn't fit in with your friends catching the newest episode of Jersey Shore, or your parents binging yet another season of Blue Bloods on Netflix, or catching the game, or playing soccer or football, or going to school for 8 hours a day, going to college, getting a 9-to-5 job, getting married, having kids, and settling down. Your movie-making dream has evicted you from your friends, family, and relatives. Worse still, your dream to make movies has obliterated any stable and certain future you might have once had. That becomes crystal clear when you tell anyone, your mom, your dad, your best friend, relative, teacher, whoever, that you just want to make movies. It's really frustrating because you always get the same question back from everyone. Do you go to school for something like that? Well, do you? Does someone who wants to make a big movie or have a career in movies actually go to film school? It's an option, and you've probably already looked up the schools. UCLA, USC, NYU, FSU, all advertise having the world's leading film program and a list of famous alumni to prove it. You only need $250,000 and a more than perfect resume to get in, or rich Hollywood parents. Do you have $250,000? Do you have perfect SAT scores? Do you have a perfect resume? Do you have rich Hollywood parents? All right, let's say you do. Let's say you've got $500,000 to burn, you're a genius, and you've joined all the key clubs and do-good organizations you can possibly stomach. Do you want to gamble 4 years of your life on a degree in film? You might, because it is, after all, film school. You'll be learning about your favorite subject, right? But while you do learn to make films, what they don't tell you is that you learn to make other people's films, not yours. You see, in film school, you don't get to make a film unless you're selected. At USC, UCLA, NYU, all the top film schools out there, you must first submit an idea. And if you should carry favor or bribe them enough, they may grant you permission. But if they don't, well, congratulations. You just paid $250,000 to help someone else learn how to make film. What a pity. But even that person still has to finance the film, and they don't even own the rights. The school does. And by the way, this is a short film, something that will get you no closer to what it is you want to do, which is make a blockbuster movie on your own. You want to make Memento, you want to make The Dark Knight, you want to make Jurassic Park, Lord of the Rings, Inception, and you want to do it yesterday. How do the makers of those films go about someday getting them made? Certainly by not going to film school. Spielberg of Jurassic Park, E.T., Jaws, was not permitted in any of the film schools he applied to. In fact, he got rejected from USC 3 times. How about Christopher Nolan? Inception, The Dark Knight, you know the guy. Surely one of the best and highest paid directors in Hollywood went to film school. He got a degree in English literature at University College, London. Peter Jackson, director of the Hobbit trilogy, The Lord of the Rings. Everybody loves Peter Jackson. Surely he must have been a film school grad. At 16, he left school and worked for a newspaper. How about Tarantino? No schooling, worked in a video store. Kevin Smith? Convenience store clerk, after he dropped out of film school in Vancouver. How about Martin Scorsese? Director of Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Casino, and some of the greatest movies ever made. He's like one of my favorite directors. He went to NYU Film School, okay? But it would be another 6 years after he graduated before he ever got a shot at directing an actual studio movie. And even then, he was years away from his overnight success with Taxi Driver. Same for M. Night Shyamalan, another graduate of New York University. For him, it would be 7 years after he graduated, before he had his overnight success with The Sixth Sense. What were the two NYU film grads doing in that 6-year window before they had their first big industry break? It's something, I promise, that can be gotten to a lot faster than by spending $250,000 and 4 years of your life wasting away on a film degree, of which, by the way, you can't get a job with anywhere. So if not school, then what? Move to LA? Sure, be around the action, the lights, the biz. That is, after you successfully fund a lifestyle of battling gridlock traffic on the commute to your job at one of the 8 zillion Starbucks, where every other aspiring screenwriter, movie director, actor, and actress serve $15 coffee to other aspiring screenwriters, movie director, actors, and actresses. All of them, I promise you, as equally and unsuccessful and frustrated. For actors or actresses, it's the endless auditions, or if they're lucky, a role in the infamous casting couch. For filmmakers, it's pitch meetings and writing what's called spec scripts. That's writing a screenplay without being paid, in the hopes someone high up enough will hand you the keys to the kingdom. However, according to an article in The Atlantic, every year roughly 50,000 scripts are registered with the Writers Guild of America. And that's just registered. Just think of the ones being worked over by the millions of other struggling filmmakers and writers, all working for zero pay. How many of those 50,000 scripts are actually bought? Well, in 2018, only 24. And that's bought, not made, which is what you actually want. Sure, selling a script is nice, but don't forget, you want to make a movie, not a stack of prose that gathers dust in a studio vault. Because out of those 24 scripts bought, 2, maybe 3 will be produced, and then butchered by a roster of other writers, actors, directors, executives, and money men and women. What does that leave you? There are books, courses, and many great YouTube videos out there. Sure, a quick Google search on how to make movies will reveal some helpful advice. Helpful like, write a great script, raise money on Kickstarter, storyboard your shots, hold casting calls, auditions, rent a camera, hire a cinematographer, scout locations, rehearse, shoot, edit, premiere, and maybe cap it all off by submitting your masterpiece to a few film festivals. Helpful, right? Come on, really? Not helpful. It's helpful if you're already in the system, because that's how they do it out there in Hollywood, not out here, where you and I are, in the real world. Sure, understanding how Hollywood does it is helpful. Yes, a few DIY, that's do-it-yourself, hacks are a helpful way to save a buck or two. But do you know the problem with all that information? It assumes that movie making is actually about movies. This is why so many filmmakers fail. They believe in their heart of hearts and that the key to movie making success is in making movies. Blinded by their own passion, frustrated filmmakers, failed filmmakers waste years, decades, fiddling with cameras, storyboards, emulating the visual style of their favorites, gossiping about helpful tips from the masters, perhaps even spending time in it's called a masterclass, where actual advice is replaced with anecdote from an expert who has long forgotten what it was like to be a beginner. The master will tell you it's just a matter of finding your passion, your inspiration, or, this is my favorite, your voice. Fun stuff, but not helpful, and mostly harmful. Blockbuster movie making it as a major director, has very little to do with mastering the mechanics of movie making. Of all the efforts involved in creating a blockbuster movie, any movie really, only about 2% is actually the technicals of writing, directing, cameras, and playing around with the editing software. And I promise you, it has even less to do with the uniqueness of your vision, passion, or my favorite, your voice. These are all well-meaning platitudes and cliches that only rob you of precious time. Time you don't have. That business about getting a 9-to-5 job, a wife, and kids, it will be here before you know it. It's called getting old. It's been said that it took Christopher Nolan 10 years to make Inception. Okay? And that's Christopher Nolan, one of Hollywood's most powerful filmmakers. How long will it take you, the average person on the outside? 20 years? 40 years? A lifetime? An eternity? And with what money? Because not only did it take 10 years to produce Inception, it took $160 million of hard-won dollars to realize its massive scale. You don't just get $160 million to make a movie like that without having first proven yourself on a previous blockbuster hit like The Dark Knight. You don't just get left alone enough to make a movie like Inception. And yet, Christopher Nolan did. And not only Christopher Nolan, but Scorsese with Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, and countless others. Peter Jackson with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, M. Night Shyamalan with The Sixth Sense, Signs, Unbreakable, Split, Glass, Paul Thomas Anderson with Boogie Nights, Spielberg with Jurassic Park, Carpenter, all these guys, James Cameron, all of them. All of them were not only handed virtually unlimited money and an army of craftsmen to see their vision through, but they were also personally paid many millions of dollars for doing so. Peter Jackson was written a check for $20 million to write, direct, and produce King Kong. Christopher Nolan earned $20 million for Dunkirk, plus 20% of whatever the film grossed. Steven Spielberg on Jurassic Park made $200 million. Titanic director James Cameron made between $50 and $100 million. A small payday when you consider that he made $350 million from Avatar. Of course, all of this is loose change compared to George Lucas making $4 billion from Star Wars. Would you someday like to deposit $4 billion into your bank for making movies? Trust me, no one asks these masters if they're ever going to grow up and get a real job. But how did they do it? How did they go from Hollywood outsider to not only industry insider, but industry insider kings, paid millions of dollars and given millions more, all so they can realize their vision for a major motion picture? And it didn't take that long for them either. On average, it took the master directors 10 years. To witness a stunning turn of power, just look at where Christopher Nolan was in 1997, receiving rejection letter after rejection letter from UK financiers, to where he was in 2007, directing Heath Ledger and Christian Bale in The Dark Knight. Consider M. Night Shyamalan in 1992, turning to his parents for financing, and then in 1998, directing Bruce Willis in The Sixth Sense. Peter Jackson manning a printing press to directing Michael J. Fox. Martin Scorsese teaching film class to directing De Niro. Tarantino stocking video shelves to directing Travolta. Would you like to know how they all made it happen? How they all got there? The one thing they all did. Would you like to not only learn what that one single thing is, but also learn how to do that one single thing yourself? And do it right where you are, without moving to LA, without groveling on Kickstarter, without groveling to some Tinseltown elitist who knows nothing about movies, by the way, without groveling, period. Are you ready? Because once you know, there's no going back. Here it is. All of the master movie directors got to where they did because they all made their first feature film on their own. This is the one thing all of your favorite movie directors did. It is the one thing they all share distinctly in common. Not film school, not moving to LA, not knowing someone. All of your favorite filmmakers, by the way, had absolutely no prior connection to the biz. And certainly not money, because that's the catch. These filmmakers all had to scratch it out without money. This is the key, the secret to becoming a master movie director and directing the blockbuster movies of your dreams. This is precisely what forged the master film directors. They had to learn it all from the ground up. You must make a feature film on your own and with very little or no, better, money. No help from industry insiders and no help even from industry outsiders hoping to get in. No auditioning, no moving close to the action, no writing your way in, no schmoozing. Certainly no casting couch. Although, for most filmmakers, that's not even an option. Pity. Not even knowing someone helps you, that is, if you don't know what it is you have to know. That's the terrible misconception about knowing someone. Even if Spielberg was your uncle, you would still have to step behind a camera and know exactly what to do. You need to know how movies are actually made, not how they're made in the multi-billion-dollar womb of Hollywood, but how films are actually made. You need the knowledge that Nolan, Shyamalan, Spielberg, Peter Jackson, all of them had to dig out on their own from bitter, knuckle-bared experience. Thankfully, that's what I can help you with. I've been exactly where you are. For 25 years, I scratched at and worked out the problem of making a blockbuster movie. I've made many shorts, written many screenplays, but more importantly, written, produced, directed, starred in, edited, did virtually everything on 3 separate award-winning feature films, 2 of which were bought, sold, and distributed nationally and globally through Amazon, Amazon Prime, Redbox, Netflix, Walmart, Vudu, iTunes, YouTube, and Google Play. One film I did while attending the University of Pittsburgh, and doing so while getting on the Dean's List and graduating in 4 years. The other was done from my hometown of Johnstown, PA. To me, a wonderful place. It's home, and it's filled with people I love. What's more, it's where I've been the most inspired. However, Johnstown, PA is not the film capital of the world, not of the nation, not of the state. I promise, it is a direct mirror of where you live. A nice, quiet place your parents picked out long ago to settle in. Whether that place is up in the Arctic or down in the Caribbean or a small seaside town in New Zealand, or I guess it would be over there, I can show you how to make blockbuster movies on your own. In my new book, How to Make Blockbuster Movies, I lay out a step-by-step process for how not only to make a movie, but how to make a blockbuster movie. Not a documentary, not a short, unless you want to apply these techniques to that. Not a little experimental film, not some cute little hokey joke to put on YouTube. A movie, a real blockbuster movie like the ones you want to create. Movies you can sell to Amazon, Netflix, Redbox, or anyone who is paying top dollar for quality content. And the demand, by the way, is huge. Just take a look at how bad movies are nowadays and you'll see what I mean. And I show you how it can be done where you are with no help and no money, which is what becoming a great director is actually about. Learning to make something out of nothing, learning to maximize your resources, learning what to spend money on. Yes, my book illustrates the process of script writing, directing, editing, distribution, but it does so in a way that no other book to date has ever done, at least on film. That would be no other book to date. So, trust me, no other book has this information. All available information on the subject of movie making is an attempt at emulating a multi-million-dollar process. I show you the process of what happens when you don't have any money and how to command it. How to glean all the necessary lessons from it, just like all the masters did. If you're extremely serious about actually making real movies, even obsessed with becoming one of the great directors of our time, then this is the book you need. Here's just some of the specific golden nuggets that are awaiting you in how to make blockbuster movies, how to come up with an original idea for a movie. Nothing drives a filmmaker crazy, especially me, like that catty criticism of, oh, that's already been done before. I detail not only how to bypass it, but how to get the same person saying, wow, you're a genius. The easy way to transform inspiration into a valuable piece of movie writing. This is how you actually write what's called a screenplay. No, this is not just script formatting. This is creating engaging, original, award-winning writing that you can actually turn into a great motion picture. What a good idea is versus a bad idea. Not all ideas are created equal, and you need to weed out the bad ones. Discover how to trace your movie-making inspiration. A filmmaker who doesn't know where his ideas or her ideas are coming from is doomed to spend a lifetime finding his or her voice. To create an original, compelling idea, you must be able to locate where your ideas are coming from. I show you how. The one simple thing George A. Romero changed and how it cemented his career as a legendary filmmaker/writer. Everyone knows the famous Pittsburgh filmmaker is the grandfather of the modern zombie film. But how did he come up with it? The number one reason 99% of screenplays fail before they're even written. Read up on this so you don't make the same mistakes everyone else does. What a screenplay actually is. Hint, it's not a blueprint for a movie. A strategy that determines the financial success of your movie. That's money for you. Botch this and kiss years of your life goodbye. Not to mention potential millions of dollars. The reason why people either love a movie or hate it. In spite of all the mysteries that surround our art, there's a simple reason why one movie flops and another doesn't. A process for analyzing the great movies and how you can emulate their greatness. If your aim is to make a great movie, like say Memento, then you need to know why it is a great movie and how to mimic those qualities. A simple test to find the perfect movie camera. Yes, there is a perfect camera out there, and I show you a practical, time-tested method of tracking it down. This is showing you exactly what you'll need in a camera. Not what a magazine says you need or what a famous expert likes using. This is the one you need in order to make a successful movie. The book gives you a no-holds-barred look at the secret, behind-the-scenes politics behind movie camera sales and why you don't fit in anywhere. There's a reason why picking a camera is so stressful. But I break it down for you, streamlining all of the complex jargon and brand choices so you can confidently invest in a movie maker's most important tool, the camera. All complicated movie lingo has been translated, so you can get right to the good stuff. I've never liked jargon, and I've gone out of my way to annihilate it from my presentation on these complex topics. I show you exactly what you need to know, and in the way you'll be ready to receive it. The book teaches you how to not only find actors, but also influence them to want to be in your movie. And this isn't just limited to actors, it includes being able to communicate and successfully influence all kinds of people to stop what they're doing and help you with your movie for free. I also show you how to eliminate the need for memorization. Nothing more painful than your recruits forgetting their lines or just outright refusing to learn them. I show you a simple technique to get around this. How to think and strategize like a Hollywood director. Successful directing is not about talent, smarts, or even looks, or even about picking out cool shots. It's the ability to think and strategize, which is why I provide a powerful exercise for getting as much filmmaking experience as the master directors. This is not especially difficult when you realize even the greats, even the ones with 30+ years of experience, have only really done 2 or so years of actual hands-on filmmaking. That's pretty amazing, right? I show an all-purpose method that can give you as much or potentially more experience than any working director has today. This book covers everything about making a movie, including even editing. I show you what editing actually is and what it is not, what post-production actually is and why it's not about finishing the movie. I demonstrate exactly how to maximize your creative choices during the crucial process of piecing the movie together. How to get out of what I call completion hell. Many talk about development hell, but no one talks about completion hell. That is, a movie has finished shooting everything and it's all in the can, and then the filmmaker suddenly realizes, this is a bad movie. Don't worry, it literally happens to every movie. Even the blockbusters like Jaws, Star Wars, and Halloween. I show you not only how those movies deployed a series of tools to create some of the greatest movies ever made, but how you too can wield those same options and produce a finished movie. This is being able to look at 3,000 media assets and unleash an arsenal of timeless processes to weave together your masterpiece. Processes like training your subconscious to edit the movie for you. Hollywood editors don't labor over the trillion-plus possibilities in their work. They enact this powerful technique to get their subconscious mind making the decisions for them. The secret to making your own music. Yes, that's even if you've never played an instrument and you have no clue about music theory. This is probably my favorite thing in the book. crafting your own special effects. You may have no interest in this, but I show you why it'll help piece your movie together, even if it isn't a special effects movie. Manipulating sound to control the viewer. This is not messing around with putting in sound effects. This is how to control the mind of the audience, guiding them exactly how to feel and where on screen they should be paying attention to. How to make blockbuster movies on your own even comes jam-packed with an exhaustive immersion on how to get your movie out there. And no, this is no Mickey Mouse advice about uploading your movie to YouTube or Vimeo. This is how to get your movie seen by Hollywood insiders and how to get them calling you. The secrets of movie distribution, why it's not just about getting shown or submitting your masterpiece to film festivals. Strategies to compete in the brutally competitive film market. The game is rigged, yes, but I show you how to turn it on its head. And finally, create powerful marketing assets. This is not just making a cool poster that an artistic person would like. This is creating a knockout, head-turning cinematic poster that grabs potential buyers and virtually forces them into a need to see your movie. And of course, this is creating the most important marketing asset of them all. Frankly, it's the most important asset of any movie and any movie's success. I show you how to craft an amazing cinematic movie trailer, of which has nothing to do with hunting down trailer-worthy shots or any kind of glib advice. I literally could talk out the rest of the book right now, right here. That's how passionate I am about filmmaking and the ideas in my book. I'll level with you. I really want to pass on this information to you right now. I've seen so many people fail at actually doing something with their movie-making dreams. I don't want you to be one of them. I've met too many people who have a deep, passionate interest in making a movie and just then, poof, nothing. Just because they didn't know where to start, because they felt overwhelmed. No one got through to them in time and simply said, you can do this. I want you to be one of the people who can learn from my 25 years of experience, all distilled out in this book, uncensored, available for your academic and professional harvest. I want you to make a feature-length film, and I want you to be able to do it yesterday. So right now, drop what you're doing, stop listening to this, stop watching this, and purchase today How to Make Blockbuster Movies. My name's Tom Getty, and I want you to buy my book. Buy it today. By the way, I can't stress enough the importance of learning, especially when it comes to movie making. There's a notion out there that says that film can't be taught. Maybe. But it must be learned, and it must be learned by you. You may have seen every movie and know everything about all the great ones, but I promise you, there are untold riches waiting for you to uncover, all in my book.